When someone ignores you, your first instinct is to seek their attention. Panic sets in, and you feel an urgent need to do something, anything, to make that person see you, respond to you, validate you. And this is where the fatal mistake happens, acting from desperation. You don't realize that at that very moment, you have lost control over yourself. You have handed over your emotional power to the other person. This isn't just a reflection of an unresolved inner wound. It's also the very reason why the other person often pulls away even more. Carl Jung taught that the human psyche is governed by unconscious processes that make us repeat the same patterns over and over until we become aware of them. If you react with anxiety when someone ignores you, it's because, deep inside, there is a fear of abandonment that has not been confronted. And this fear, instead of bringing you closer to the other person, traps you in your own emotions. The need for approval and the urgency to be seen lead you to behave in ways that, instead of attracting, actually repel. When you chase after someone who is pulling away, you send an energetic message of lack. You are essentially saying, "I am not enough without your validation." And the other person's unconscious mind picks up on this. No matter how hard you try to convince them, to prove your worth, or to make them acknowledge your existence, if your energy is coming from fear, emptiness, and dependency, the effect will be the exact opposite. The real problem is that we live believing that love and attention from others define us. But in reality, what truly defines us is the relationship we have with ourselves. Jung called this process individuation, the journey through which a human being becomes whole without depending on external factors to feel complete. And this is where the paradox unfolds. When you stop desperately seeking someone's attention, that person unconsciously begins to notice your absence, not because you are playing some kind of mind game, but because your energy has shifted. You have stopped projecting neediness and have started reconnecting with yourself. And that is the real key. What truly attracts people is not insistence, not pressure, but authenticity and inner solidity. And to reach that point, there is something you must do before anything else. Stop fighting against the shadow within you. When someone ignores you, what hurts the most is not their absence, but the meaning you give to their indifference. You feel like you are not valuable enough, like you did something wrong, or that there is something within you that doesn't deserve to be seen. But all of this is nothing more than a projection of your own shadow. Carl Jung explained that the shadow is the part of ourselves that we repress because it conflicts with the image we want to project to the world. And when someone ignores us, that shadow is activated. It forces us to face the fear of being invisible, rejected, or abandoned. If you haven't integrated that part of yourself, you will react from the wound. That's when you rush to send a message, when you anxiously check their last online status, when you search for signs that they still care. But none of this is love. It's fear disguised as desire. And the more you act from fear, the more you show that you are not in control of yourself. What you truly need to do is the exact opposite of what your instincts tell you. Instead of running after that person, Instead of trying to force a reaction, what really works is stepping into a state of detachment, not because you are giving up on them, but because you understand that your worth does not depend on someone else's attention. And when you achieve this, something fascinating happens. The dynamic shifts. Jung spoke of psychic synchronization, the idea that energies align when a person's internal state changes. If you stop needing someone's validation, they will sense it, even if you don't see immediate results. When you disappear from their radar, when you no longer act from a place of lack, that person begins to wonder why you're no longer there. Why has your energy changed? But this process only works if you truly let go of the need for a response. If you do it hoping that the person will return, you are still trapped in the same cycle. What you need is not strategic absence, but inner presence. You need to become someone who does not depend on external reactions to feel whole. That is why, the next time you feel the urge to insist, stop. Observe what is truly happening within you. Ask yourself, is it love that I feel, or is it fear? Because if it is fear, the only way to break the pattern is not by getting the other person's attention, but by facing what you have been avoiding within yourself. True transformation happens when you do this, when instead of acting from anxiety, you act from the certainty of your own worth, when you stop chasing and instead become the center of your own world. And when this happens, the game changes completely. When someone ignores you, what is truly at stake is not your connection with that person, but the relationship you have with yourself. Jung said that most of our external conflicts are actually reflections of unresolved inner struggles. And when you experience rejection or indifference, what gets triggered in your unconscious mind is a story you have lived before, even if you don't consciously remember it. Maybe, during your childhood, there were moments when you felt invisible. Perhaps, at some point in your life, you learned that to be loved, you had to work harder, prove more, do more. And now, when someone ignores you, you revert to that childlike state where you believe that if you just insist enough, if you just try hard enough, they will finally see you. But this is a trap of the mind. The more you try to be seen, the more you reinforce the idea that you are not enough on your own. Jung explained that the unconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is symbolic. If you feel that you are not valuable without someone's attention, your mind will take it as an absolute truth and will reinforce that pattern again and again. But if instead you take that person's indifference as an opportunity to strengthen your own worth, to rediscover yourself, to expand, then you will have taken the first step toward deep transformation. This is where many people fail. Instead of using the distance to grow, they use it to obsess even more. They fall into a spiral of repetitive thoughts, imagining scenarios, searching for explanations, desperately looking for any sign that there is still hope. But what they don't realize is that, in doing so, they are wasting their energy on something they cannot control. And the more you focus on the other person, the less energy you have for yourself. The secret is not to ignore someone who ignores you out of revenge, nor to play with absence as a strategy of manipulation. The real change happens when you no longer need another person's presence to feel whole. When you understand that your value does not depend on whether someone decides to see you or not, that is when the other person, on an unconscious level, begins to perceive something different in you. It's not magic. It's not a seduction tactic. It's a simple psychological reality. Attraction arises when there is balance, and a person who is not desperate to be seen, who does not beg for attention, who does not revolve their world around someone else, becomes magnetic. But this change must be real. If you do it just to get a reaction, if you are still clinging to the hope that the other person will come back, you are still projecting neediness, and the cycle will repeat itself once again. One of the greatest emotional challenges we face as human beings is the fear of being ignored. It strikes directly at the ego, wounds self-esteem, and often triggers deep insecurities we didn't even realize we had. When someone ignores us, our mind instinctively tries to fill the void with explanations, crafting all kinds of scenarios in an attempt to make sense of the situation. We start wondering if we said something wrong, if we did something to push them away, if we should have acted differently. We begin questioning ourselves to the point of convincing ourselves that somehow we are at fault. And in that process, without even realizing it, we give the other person a power they do not deserve. They are no longer just someone who took a step back. Now, they have control over our emotions, our mental peace, and even our sense of self-worth. Carl Jung taught us that the human mind is a constant battlefield between the conscious and the unconscious. One of the biggest traps we fall into is projecting our own fears onto others. When someone ignores us, the pain we feel is not just about their absence. It is about what that absence represents in our psyche. It is the activation of a deep-seated fear. The fear of not being important enough, of not being worthy of attention, love, or recognition. But here's the truth. When someone chooses to ignore you, it is not always about you. There are countless reasons why a person may distance themselves, and most of those reasons have more to do with their own internal struggles than with anything you have done. However, the problem is that most people don't see it this way. They take indifference as a personal offense, as proof of their inadequacy, when in reality, it is simply a sign that the other person is fighting their own internal battle. And this is where your true power lies. Instead of getting trapped in uncertainty, instead of trying to figure out what is going on in the other person's mind, you can use this moment to reclaim your energy, to shift the focus back onto yourself. Instead of wasting your thoughts on someone who is not giving you their time, you can redirect that energy toward your own growth and strength. A common mistake people make is trying to fill the silence with more words, more attempts, more gestures to prove their worth. But in reality, what creates the most impact is doing the opposite, disappearing with purpose, not as a strategy, not to punish the other person, but because you understand that you cannot force a connection with someone who is not willing to have one. And something fascinating happens at this moment. When you stop being available, when you disappear from their radar, the other person begins to notice your absence, not because you are manipulating them, but because your energy has shifted. You are no longer projecting desperation. You are no longer sending the signal that you need to be seen. And what once seemed certain, your presence, your interest, your availability, now becomes an unknown. This is often the moment when the person who ignored you starts seeking you out again. Not because you played a game, but because the energy has changed. What was easy to ignore now feels like an emptiness. But here's the key. By the time this happens, you will have changed as well. You will no longer be waiting. You will no longer be in the same emotional space. When the person who ignored you finally decides to come back, it is natural to feel a mix of emotions. There may be relief, but also deep unease. Their return is a test of the transformation you have undergone. This is the moment to reaffirm your own path without falling back into old dynamics. It is not about reacting impulsively or allowing the past to dictate the present. It is about staying aligned with the new version of yourself, one that has grown stronger through self-awareness and inner work. In these moments, your subconscious may try to pull you back into old patterns, those where your validation depended entirely on the presence and approval of the other person. But if you have learned to recognize and integrate this shadow, you will know that true growth lies in responding with calmness and inner security. This is not about closing the door to reconciliation, but about doing so from a place of personal power, where you are no longer trying to fill a void or compensate for old wounds. The key is to consciously observe your emotions. Allow yourself to feel everything that arises without judgment, without rushing into actions that could undo all the progress you have made. It is in these moments of reconnection that your inner wisdom must guide you. Ask yourself, am I reacting out of fear or out of certainty in my own worth? Am I allowing the past to pull me back, or am I fully present in the here and now, making decisions from a place of integrity? Every answer to these questions brings you closer to the authentic integration of your shadow, to the individuation process that Jung saw as essential for a truly fulfilling life. If you ever feel tempted to fall back into old patterns, remember that every experience is a lesson. The return of a certain person into your life is not merely a coincidence. It is an opportunity. It may serve as a chance to rebuild the relationship from a new, healthier perspective, or as a moment to reaffirm your emotional independence. What truly matters is that, no matter the circumstances, you do not compromise your inner peace or sacrifice your authenticity in pursuit of external validation. Your worth is not defined by whether someone stays or leaves. Rather, it is measured by your ability to remain steadfast in your essence, even when external situations challenge your sense of stability. Each step you take towards solidifying your personal power is a victory over past insecurities. It is a testament to the fact that true freedom is found in the harmony between your conscious and unconscious worlds. As the emotional turbulence of a reunion settles and a newfound sense of calm begins to emerge, you reach the next stage of your transformation, the consolidation of your growth and the establishment of relationships rooted in authenticity and healthy boundaries. No longer are you reacting impulsively to every action or absence. Instead, you have developed a deeper awareness that allows you to see every experience, every moment of silence, every distant glance, as a teacher guiding you toward greater self-knowledge. From this evolved state of consciousness, every interaction becomes an opportunity to reinforce your emotional independence. You have come to understand that the need for external validation does not define your worth. Thus, the way you respond to silence or indifference is no longer a desperate attempt to seek approval, but a reflection of your commitment to your own growth. Rather than filling any perceived void with old patterns of fear or desperation, you now have the power to nurture your inner world and strengthen the connection you have with yourself, an unshakable foundation upon which all authenticity is built. The process of inner transformation is neither immediate nor linear. It is a journey filled with highs and lows. Every setback, no matter how small, presents an opportunity to rise again with greater wisdom. It is crucial to allow yourself to feel without judgment, recognizing that every emotion, no matter how intense, is a vital part of the journey toward the full integration of your being. The key is to observe without attachment, to learn from every experience without allowing fear to dictate your actions. True transformation also involves setting clear boundaries that protect your energy. By integrating the lessons of your past shadows, you come to realize that you are under no obligation to tolerate behaviors that perpetuate emotional dependency. You learn to say no when necessary and to prioritize what truly nourishes and propels you forward. This act of self-care becomes the foundation for healthier relationships, connections where both individuals can grow without falling into destructive cycles. Each time you choose to act from a place of authenticity, from the inner strength you have cultivated, you send a powerful message to the universe and to those around you. Your worth is not dependent on external approval, and your inner peace is unshakable. It is within this renewed vibration that the true magic unfolds. This is not about manipulation or carefully calculated strategies. It is about a genuine transformation in how you exist in the world. Over time, you will begin to notice how new doors open effortlessly. The people who truly resonate with your essence will be drawn to you naturally, while those who once thrived on your dependency will fade into the past. This process of natural selection allows you to surround yourself with relationships that add value to your life, enrich your experiences, and encourage your continued evolution. Every step you take toward inner balance, every decision you make in favor of your well-being, reinforces the internal message that you are enough, exactly as you are. And that certainty, that deep-rooted confidence in your own being, is the foundation upon which authentic relationships are built. Learning to let go of what no longer serves you is not an act of weakness. It is an act of profound wisdom. It is the realization that true power lies in your ability to choose what nourishes your soul and to release what only depletes you. As you continue to walk this path, you will recognize that silence and indifference, though painful at first, are actually invitations to reconnect with yourself. They are signs that, on some level, a disconnection has occurred, one that needs to be healed, and that healing does not come from seeking answers externally, but from exploring the vast inner universe that has always been within you. The challenge is to transform every experience of rejection into an opportunity for growth, to learn how to love in a more whole and conscious way. In doing so, you free yourself from the weight of emotional dependency and in turn become a source of inspiration for those around you. Your ability to face indifference with dignity and serenity becomes a beacon of light, proving that the path to true fulfillment is not found in external approval, but in the unwavering strength of your own soul. It all lies in the integration of every part of your being. Every encounter, every absence, every moment of solitude or connection becomes a brushstroke in the grand painting of your existence. Together, these experiences shape the portrait of a complete being, one capable of loving unconditionally and living in true harmony with themselves. This journey is not easy. It is filled with challenges, moments of doubt, and times when you may question your path. But it is also profoundly enriching. Along the way, you will come to understand that true transformation does not come from seeking outside validation or chasing what appears to be missing. Instead, it arises when you recognize that everything you have ever needed has always been within you. Reaching this realization is a pivotal moment. You begin to see that every experience, every silence, every reunion, every moment of pain or joy has been part of a greater process, the discovery of your inner power. When you shift your perspective and transform rejection into an opportunity for growth, you not only reconnect with yourself on a deeper level, but you also open the door to more authentic and fulfilling relationships. What once seemed like a painful situation reveals itself as a powerful lesson in self-acceptance and resilience. You come to understand that your worth is not defined by external validation, but by the unshakable strength that resides in the deepest parts of your being. And it is in this realization that true liberation begins. The journey toward integrating your shadow and strengthening your authenticity is not a lonely one. It is an invitation to explore, to learn, to share. Each time you choose to act from a place of inner peace and self-awareness, you send a powerful message to the universe and to those around you. It is through this genuine exchange of energy and truth that true transformation takes root. Because when you become a beacon of light for yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your presence, your growth, and your willingness to embrace your full self create a ripple effect, encouraging others to embark on their own journey of self-discovery and empowerment. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments, to join this community of growth, and to spread this message to those who need to hear it. True strength lies in embracing the totality of who we are. Every interaction, every like, every comment not only amplifies this message, but also contributes to the creation of a space where we can all learn to transform pain into power, silence into wisdom, and indifference into opportunities for change. Remember, real transformation begins within. It is not about searching outside for something you have always carried inside. It is about uncovering that latent force within you, the one that allows you to live fully, authentically, and with purpose. Share this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can continue receiving content that inspires you to look within and transform your life. Together, we can reach countless people and build a movement of change and self-awareness that illuminates the path for those seeking deeper meaning in their relationships and in their own existence. Thank you for being part of this journey and for inspiring others to discover their true potential.